What's up, Sooner Nation? You already know what's going on. It is the instant reaction to the game. Pretty much a quick recap. With Sooners Intel, you got myself, Chris with a K, Horns Down Podcast. You got Mr. Chris Mason here with Sooners 360. You got Jason here with
What would you like to know about Chris Mason?
you 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 have
That
Jason
wasn't
here.
me. That wasn't me.
That was Siri.
You have Jason here with the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast, and got our guy Sean on here, Mr. Oni Kuno himself. Definitely go check out the YouTube and all the rest of that. But we got him with us for this podcast, guys. It's a lot to talk about, man. It's a lot to talk about. Obviously, the Sooners are 4-0. Going into the bye week 4-0. Only thing that is up from here is honestly up. Got to get healthy. Got to get a lot of different things. But
I'm sorry. I saw Arch Manning running in for a touchdown on Sam Houston State, and he was talking trash to a guy on Sam Houston State. That is one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life.
Texas, there's a lot of.
I'm sorry, I had to interrupt that. I was just like, "Are you talking trash to?" Checks notes. Sam Houston State.
Trust. Anyway, but let's focus in, fellas. Man, we got a lot to discuss today. Obviously, OU won today. Obviously, 24-17. What an incredible game by our defense, offense. There was a lot of stuff left out there on the field, but at the same time, man, got to give a hats off to that defensive line for what they did. Jason, you being at the game today, just what was the overall feel? What was the crowd like? Just kind of run us through kind of that atmosphere today. You're on mute.
You're on mute, dude.
Sorry. Kind of similar to the Michigan game, not quite as crazy. You know how it was for the Michigan game. It was just loud, and it felt that way a lot of the time today. But you didn't also have as many people from Auburn there. They talk a lot of crap on Twitter, but they don't show up. But I tell you what, there was definitely some concern. You could feel the concern among what was going on with the offense and stuff because they weren't moving the ball very well, and I think a lot of that had to do probably, I guess you could say, with some of it was the O-line stuff, and you've got some injuries there, and that's going to be I think that's something we're going to probably go through for the rest of the year, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But didn't you see what they did defensively? And I mean, to go out there and was it 10 sacks finally at the end?
It was, yeah.
And that's a record. So, bro, that is insanity. R. Mason comes in at halftime and I thought he killed Jackson on that. I thought he killed old Jackson on that. But, and I'm already hearing, you're hearing the Auburn side and saying, I'm already getting on Jackson about holding on to the football. Hey, guess what? He had 8 or 9 sacks in a bunch of games for Oklahoma last year. Get used to it, buddy. This is how it goes. So, but in there, I mean, you know how it gets in the Palace, man. They get behind them and they want them to win it. I've been pretty happy with the way, but it was a hot sucker today. You didn't have as much of it. It wasn't the same as Michigan because of being nighttime and it being as hot as it was. You've seen people fall out in the bowl, in the lower bowl, but on that sun area. But it is what it is, man. I thought that sometimes you got to dig down to get these wins in the SEC, and that's what they did.
So, Sean, we'll go to you, man. Just what's your overall thoughts about the game before we kind of get into the details, the meat of it?
Well, I feel like I need to address our fan base specifically because there's certain people that show up my watch along chats every week. But guys, this is what it's going to be like every year till the end of time. So I need you to understand that there's going to be games like this. And I understand it feels like maybe we should have won by more, or our offense is like, yeah, that's going to happen. Here's the God honest truth about what we signed up for. There's going to be weeks where we whoop someone. There's going to be weeks where someone whoops us. And there's going to be games just like tonight. And it's going to be like that every season. And guess what? All 3 of those that I just mentioned are likely going to happen this year. And you know what it means? It doesn't mean that's who you are every week. this team will get better. You have to grind and win games like this sometimes. Even if like your defensive front is playing well, the smartest thing Auburn did all day was like, we're gonna go pick on that true freshman corner they like so much with our stud wide receiver and see what happens. And guess what happened? He picked on a true freshman corner and he looked like a freshman tonight. Now he didn't. Now in the old days, we wouldn't have fixed it. We were just like, just leave him out there. He'll figure it out. They eventually put a safety over top and they made some adjustments so they couldn't just do that all day. However, it's like, we're going to have moments like that. That's something we have to address. Now, Guillory can either get better or, Eli Bowen's it looks like he's almost 100%. He's coming back soon. So all the negatives, like we couldn't run the ball. Neither could they till late in the game. They got a couple runs. But two things I take away from this: best defensive front we've had in 2.5 decades. And when you have to put the game on your back, you dial up John Mateer. So when you have those two things, a defensive front that can seal a game and a quarterback who put the team on his back, we have a shot in every game this year. I don't care how close it is or how nervous you are. Like I had people with 7 minutes left in the game saying, "Oh, it's over now," because we went down by 1 point. I mean, some of y'all in this fan base need to nut up seriously, because it's gonna be a long ride all season. If you ain't ready to stay on this bumpy ride, we're on a bumpy road on this schooner. I'm sorry if it's not smooth sailing for some of y'all, but get used to it, because that's what's going to be like for a long, long time. You have to win games like this.
So Chris Mason, let's jump into some of the details. Obviously, I'll start with, let's see. There was a comment up here that is essentially somebody said, "Hey, I don't understand why we didn't put Gentry on Cam Coleman more." I think for me, it wasn't even necessarily that. I just felt like, hey, BV, I get, let's be aggressive. Let's get him uncomfortable. But I felt even when RMT wasn't in the game, I felt like you could still get a really good pass rush with 4 or 5, spy him, keep everything in front of you, keep that middle sealed up, because the middle, him throwing over the middle is basically his check down. Let's just be real. And so you were able to, stop a lot of the east-west stuff, but it was just a simple fact of you're leaving Guillory out there, which honestly, listen to me, just hear me out on this, everybody. Even though that was kind of, trial by fire, at the end of the day, it's only going to make him better, and it's only going to help him. That's an NFL guy right there, right now, even as a sophomore. It's an NFL guy. So, Chris Mason, just kind of run us through that. Obviously, if you want to sprinkle in a defensive line, we can, because I definitely want to talk about David Stone. David Stone is a guy. But at the same time, let's talk about the secondary, because that seems to be the one of the biggest things in the chat right now.
Well, we missed some tackles today. It was probably the most missed tackles we've missed all season long. Auburn got lucky on a 4th and 11 that Jackson Arnold was able to use I think it was the referee to screen our defenders to get his first down. Because if we sack him there, that game's over. They never. It's 16-10. We drive the field. It's 23-10. I think the secondary got tested today. We left Guillory out on an island. He got burned sometimes. Singleton made some plays. Auburn's wide receiver group, is good. I mean, Singleton is really good. That's why everybody wanted to buy him in the offseason. Cam Coleman's a 5-star, and he looks it. He made 3 big plays, and he got at least 2 big pass interference calls. We made them pretty much one-dimensional for the most part, and they hit some plays, and they hit some wide receivers. I don't. Should we have dropped into coverage more and just rush 4? I think those are, possibly at some points, but guys, it's 17 freaking points. I mean, what do you want from a defense? I mean, it's not going to be 3 points in Temple every week.
We need to be the 2000 Ravens, man.
I mean, the Jackson 4th and 11 set up their second touchdown. Their first touchdown was, they had a couple of big passing plays. And in coverage. I mean, obviously, if Peyton Bowen doesn't drop what would have been a pick six early on, that would have changed things considerably.
He had to reach out for that a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, still a little bit.
Ken McDaniels too.
You know,
it can't be just that they're like it's sloppy, blah blah blah. You know what? It's the offense wasn't sloppy. The offense was going up against a pretty damn good defensive front too.
Well, and I don't know, and Michaela and Weiwu were probably playing out there. You know, they were not 100% at all. Let's just call it what it was. And I think obviously Fasusi's our best athletic left tackle, and they went with Howland instead.
Fasusi tried to get in there early, but he couldn't.
Yeah, it just so you know, we're down three of our better offensive linemen were completely banged up.
And you still won.
And you still won. And you know, when we kicked 2 red zone field goals, if we put those drives away, I'm glad we've got a reliable field goal kicker. Props to the field goal kicking game today, right? The 50 yarder. Oh, okay, whatever. This is an OU chat room. Go to some fucking Auburn place and complain about that.
What were your thoughts when we kicked it to go up 16-10? Because I know it felt like you go for that, and if you don't get it, you still have them pinned deep. And I just it's like that was like, man, like if we don't win that game, that's a call we question Brent for a while. If we don't,
it was 4th and 2. The short yardage game wasn't really working, so to come away with no points there would have been.
I agree. I think you with the lead, you got to make them go down and score a touchdown. Now they did, but
and your field goal kicker's kicking well too, so you have a chance to get a field goal to go back up. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right a little bit there in terms of
go back down and score like that, and then get the safety though. I mean, you know, they went down and drove right down the field and scored. So I mean, you did what you. Yeah, were they great the whole time on offense? No, but when you needed material to go down and do what I mean, guys, you got to remember that. I mean, if we're gonna do this Baker Mayfield shit, he wasn't great in his first few starts. It took a while before he became Baker fucking Mayfield.
But before we go to the offensive side, I'm gonna steer just right back to the defensive side just a little bit. Just talking about that secondary, I'll just say this right here. You were challenged. I don't believe you will be challenged like that again until you see Tennessee. So that's something that has to be shored up, because I think the closest that you will see to a Cam Coleman will be the Braswell kid or the Brazel kid or whatever. There's some other top-notch wide receivers. I'm just saying, I think as far as that passing attack is trying to go vertical the entire time. I think that some of the offenses that we will go up against, their offensive lines are not going to be like Auburn's, where they're trying to hold up at the point of attack. For me, again, it just felt like, hey, we're leaving these guys out there on the island, and that's fine from time to time because you want to take those chances. But cover one, different things like that, where at least you have some type of safety help, some type of help for those guys out there. Because if you ask me, I felt like for the most part, and his stats may say differently, but for the most part, it felt like we held Singleton in check today. It felt like a lot of the underneath stuff, different things like that that they wanted to have for Jackson as a safety valve, it wasn't there. It was mostly just big plays to Cam Coleman. It was a lot of bang plays out there. It felt like the officiating, the first half was way different than the second half. The second half felt like they let them play more physical. It was just one of those things where I think that, for me, when we went up 16-10, I was still saying that was game. I think the 4th and 11 is what really, really killed me, because they were able to convert on that run. So I was like, hey, if you got that, if you nipped that in the bud, that's probably game right there. But at the same time, they scored. We went down there. We got a quarterback. We got a guy who can go down there. It's not tense. And I'll be honest with you guys. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this.
Here we go.
I felt like Venables. I felt like BV. I thought his game, if I gave a grade on his game management today, I'd give a B+ or an A-, because we had one. If they scored, or whatever the case may be was going to happen, we had 3 timeouts left. I thought that the decision to pushed them back 10 yards on that holding call instead of just going to the 3rd and 14. I thought that was great. And I thought that's what helps us because we knew we were going to be able to get that pass rush and we were making them more predictable.
And it ate more clock up too.
So. Exactly. So I would say that in those situations, there were some key situations in there. That's what I would say as far as defense. There are there's a lot of room for improvement. But the thing is that hopefully after this bye week, we're going to get obviously Giovanni on the offensive side of the ball. We can go to that here in a second, but also we can get Eli back in the mix and we can get back into kind of our core guys. But for the most part, if I gave the defense a grade, I'm giving them a solid A. I wouldn't even go A+ simply because we got to sure up things on the back end. Regardless, though, that defensive line stepped up when they needed to. And it all points to me, honestly, who led the charge today. I know I put Marvin Jones Jr. I thought Marvin Jones Jr. had a great day. Had a really good day, actually. I thought that Wine had a good day. Obviously, we could talk about R. Mason Thomas, but David fucking Stone. David Stone.
Language, my goodness.
He was a dude out there. I was like, that's the David Stone we thought we were getting. That's this defensive line. Now we can put the Clemson stuff to rest and say, hey, we have our defensive line now. We have our line. We don't have to talk about what he did at Clemson. We can talk about what we have here. This defense here is the real deal, people.
David Stone and Jane Jackson are your tag team champions of the world.
And yet we're still bitching in there. We didn't force a turnover.
Well, no, we didn't.
We did force it. I mean, you know what? That annoys me because guess what, guys? The special team play is every bit a turnover.
I really think someone did a monkey's paw and said I want a really great defense, but the curse is you don't force any turnovers. You'll get a bunch of 3 and outs and punts and stuff, but yeah, you're not gonna.
They still held them to under 300 yards. I mean,
I'm not complaining once you win the football game, but it's in the moment you're like, oh, you just.
But I mean, they're this close to getting a few of them too, like interceptions and stuff that they should have had. I mean, they almost had them.
It's just silly at this point.
I think once they get one, then they're the dam should break, right?
You know, there's OU fans. We played Jackson Earl to enforcing turnovers. He turned over the ball all the time last year. How come?
Well, they're not putting in a position to
they're right
turn the
here.
ball
They're right here in the chat, right here.
I mean, you stuffed his running game today. You stuffed as again. Auburn had 2 big runs. That was it. I still can't believe the second run actually happened. The big run happened. I'm like, how did those 3 guys not tackle him?
Guys, this defensive front did something those mid-'80s OU teams never did. Something the Selmans never did. I want you to think about that for a moment. Something the Selmans never did, or those mid-'80s teams, 85 through 87. They broke a school record for sacks, not against some garbage Northeastern East Popcorn State school. This is Auburn. This is SEC. And from what I was told, they had one of the better offensive lines in the conference.
Well, this is what's going to happen again, right? So we played Michigan, and then everyone's like, "Oh, well, Michigan's not very good."
By the way, Michigan won on the road today.
Yeah, I appreciate that since I picked Michigan in our thing, in our little picks contest. So Michigan wasn't good, right? So that Michigan's not good, and then Michigan now runs over for 300 yards on Nebraska and beats Nebraska, right? So we're going to hear for the next week how bad Auburn is, right? Well,
no, Auburn's good.
We're going to hear that, though. I mean, we're going to hear that Auburn's not good. They're not very good.
Here's what you're going to hear, actually. Because it's not that Auburn's not good. I don't think that's going to be the narrative. And this is something I want to address as well. And this is to both fan bases in this game. I understand officials suck sometimes, and today was no different. I don't want to hear that as your number one excuse why you lost. Because 2 weeks ago, I addressed our fan base on my channel. I said, look, I know y'all said the Big Ten refs were this, that, and everything, but we still overcame and won the football game, correct? Good teams overcome bad officiating, even if today was a little weird and awkward. And I know Auburn fans going to point out every bad call that went against them. They'll be on Feinbaum all next week. I don't want to hear it. And I don't want to hear it from OU fans either. You have to overcome crappy officiating. Because I told them, well, you think the SEC refs are going to be any better than the Big Ten ones? It's not going to be any better. We had, 9 for 99 at one point or something like that, maybe more. And I know they had 12. It was a bad day for both teams. It was bad on both sides. The best team won and overcame them. So I just want to get that out of the way right now. If you want to complain about a call here and there, I'm with you. There's certain calls, like I think the one call I hated the most was the first OPI on Satania, because he was actually running an out route. The second one he got was straight. Okay, he straight up did a pick. Like he got called. He deserved to be called for that one. But before the half, that out route that he ran is like, that was a BS call. That cost us a field goal before the end of the half. But other than that, they overcame it. You have to overcome bad officiating. And that's my mantra. So I'm off my soapbox right now.
So Jason, I'm gonna come to you here in a second, but hey, first, real quick, everybody, hey, like, subscribe. We got over 200 plus people in here watching this live, so definitely go and like and subscribe on everybody's channel. Subscribe to everybody's channel. It's down there in the bio. Just kind of switching gears real quick. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball. I'll start this off and I'll hand this off to you, Jason, like I said, and then we'll go to you, Chris Mason. But I think Arbuckle, this is probably, I think worse is probably the worst way to put it. But I think this was probably I chalked this up as a bad day calling the game. I didn't think the game plan was great at first. I think that once he settled in and got to the fundamentals of his offense, and there were two things, honestly. I think first off, going north-south, that helped us out a lot.
He kept going back to those like end arounds or reverses or pop passes, and they were always losing 4 or 5 yards.
And the thing was today is I know some people in here are saying that, run blocking wasn't great, this and that. Actually, run blocking was there early and often. We just started running these, jet sweeps and some of our end around stuff, and it was like, hey, it's 2nd and 1. You got to reward somebody like Canick. Canick is out there battling. Get you down to 2nd and 1, and then you're running an in around. No, we can't do that. So, it's some things that I think that he needs to fix, needs to understand, but it's just one of those things where you got to stick with those fundamentals of your offense. And there were times where you could run the ball. Talking to my uncle's like, man, it's like, especially on those short yardage plays, he was like, that honestly spells, hey, not Borns, but X-Rob. So, you kind of wonder, obviously we kind of had to circle the wagon today, stick with the core guys or whatever on certain plays and stuff. But, you saw some of the creativity, you saw some of the plays. But the thing was that when we really put our mind to it and when we weren't killing ourselves with turnovers or drops or whatever, we moved the ball really well on them, because obviously, in my opinion, the secondary is the weakness of this Auburn offense. Jason, you still there?
Yeah.
So I was going to come to you, Jason, and just say, okay, what were your thoughts about the offense today?
And I'm thinking about what we're talking about. I think we're still trying to find this mix right there, and you went up against a legitimate D-line. I think that what Auburn's D-line is legit. But I'll say this, and something that somebody said that in there too was like, look, you can say what you want to say, but our offensive line didn't give up 14 tackles for a loss and 10 sacks. Maybe we're not running the ball like you want us to run the ball right now. Again, I'm going to say this. I think that you have to. This is a new system for everybody but John Mateer. It's similar to what they've run before. I get it, but this is not these guys. They've been running. I mean, all these guys have been running the Levy, Seth mix, whatever the shit that was last year. So, I mean, I think that they have their moments. As much as we acted like Mateer didn't do this I heard the Crane guys talking about that he wasn't a Heisman guy today. He completed like 15 passes in a row.
He was 16 to 17.
Yeah, and like, I mean, he had his moments where he wasn't perfect, but again, I don't think you're completely healthy. I think you're kind of piecing it together, and it is what it is. But I like the way there was times that you wanted to see him move it a little bit more, but when they needed to get points, they got them. I don't know what else you can say. He had 276 today. Was it 276 on like 26?
Yeah.
Or 24, 36, something like that.
This whole Heisman thing is just. I always make fun of people who try to crown Heisman winners in September.
I tell people I don't want to talk about the Heisman until the second half of the fucking year anyway.
I don't really give a shit if he wins the Heisman, to be honest. Just keep winning ball games.
I mean, I like to collect trophies. I'm all about the Heisman, but even so, it's like John Mateer is going to be the September Heisman winner. Congrats! It don't matter unless you do stuff in November and December. So, but it's just I just laugh at people who are mad. It's like he's not a Heisman guy. He's like, dude, it's like not even the end of September yet. Like, who cares? I don't care if he's like you. I don't care if he's a Heisman guy right now. Can we win games? Because last year we couldn't win games. I like a guy who can like put the team on his back and help us win games. And if like whether he gets a Heisman or not is like he'll get a statue out front one day. But there's one play we got to talk about because I think we've danced around it. We got to talk about the mat because like Ben Arbuckle, as up and down as he was today, he is a bit of a mad scientist. Last week we had the silly 2-point conversion where we throw to the back, where our tight ends throw into the backup punter, which is hilarious to me that worked. And now we literally pull something out of the end of the Longest Yard remake with Adam Sandler. That's literally what that looked like. It's like Satania is like, they don't know to play, and it just ran. That's literally out of the Longest Yard. And there was a lot of conversation whether that should have been a unsportsmanlike, a flag or whatever, but I'm guessing they double, triple checked to make sure he was in the right spot at the right time and there was no substitutions. And listen, if you want to say that's unsportsmanlike or that should have been a flag, I look at it like as the heel wrestler on Saturday morning WWF Superstars back in the day put his foot up on the rope and got a cheap pin. The heel rolls out of the ring, gets a win, right? Gets his hand raised no matter what. If you want, I'll be more than happy to be a bad guy today. I'll be a heel. Boo me, please boo us.
Call a timeout. Have your guy, have one of your defensive tackles blitz through the line and get an offside penalty. If you see it, do something. Again, the officials, cry me an effing river. I could care less.
I haven't seen Hugh Freeze that upset since one of the hookers he paid for took the money and left before service rendered. I haven't seen him that mad before.
These things happen. I mean, you know what? If it's like you said earlier, if you're going to sit and you're going to wait, I mean, that touchdown got called back in the first quarter. If you don't figure out a way to win after that, then it ain't on the refs, bro. Shut up.
That's what I've been. That is my mantra. Do not point to plays in the first or second quarter. That's not why you lost a football game.
No, it isn't.
Actual home cooking from the refs, I'll take it, man. Because we never freaking get it before. Never get it in the Big 12 before. That's for damn sure.
We had like 100 yards of penalties ourselves.
Isn't this what y'all do all the time, Jeremy Jones? Isn't this what Auburn fans always do? Is just whine and bitch about freaking everything that doesn't go their way. It's such a little brother. It's such a little brother way to do things.
The refs.
They're Aggies, man. They're the Cal College of Alabama.
I hope they get paid. I mean, it's a job. You got to do something.
So.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not too many times that you turn on a lot of reels on Instagram, especially like the high school ranks. They literally run that play all the time. It's a part of it, man. The refs, again, they weren't great. We're not going to say that they were, but at the same time, Auburn gave themselves a chance to win this game. So did OU. At the end of the day, it was all about execution. And hey, Auburn, you had a chance to win it. You had the ball last. But, it is what it is. Chris Mason, what was your overall thoughts about just Arbuckle's game plan today? Was it to your liking? There was a bunch of stuff that was there today. If Nwewu clears that block on that one controversial call with that screenplay that was set up for Satania, Satania probably takes that home. Right. It was a lot. There was a bunch of things that you liked, but there was a lot that you didn't like. I just felt like, hey, we need to be aggressive and attack down the field instead of just, trying to do this east-west stuff.
An important quote from Ben Arbuckle on that play that we were just talking about. Quote, I don't know that there was any towing the line. It was a template play. I'm guessing he's referring to Satania, pointed at the ref, and the ref nodded his head. So the ref knew what was up. So he pointed. He's like, I'm still in the game. So
end of story.
you got the rug pulled out from under you. I'm sorry, but that's what happened, Auburn fans. I'll listen to your calls on Feinbaum next week for entertainment purposes. But
yeah, I think offensively, like you said, the jet sweep stuff has been working for us. It worked in the Michigan game, so we tried it.
Hit that vertical. Throw it down the field.
So we tried some of that. It didn't work today. I think, overall there was a couple of passes in the first quarter. Mateer barely missed Burks on the sideline and barely missed Satania. Again, those two drives would have been that's 2 touchdowns probably from those drives right there. They tried to take away. Kanak had his hard time getting going initially. He's probably a complete scumbag, but their DC is a good guy. The old Maryland coach. He's a good DC.
Did Durkin kill someone once accidentally?
Well, yeah, that's up for debate. But yes,
I mean, Brian Kelly killed somebody one time.
Well, that's not up for debate. Having been in Chicago when that occurred, so I think the offense again. There's more meat on the bone there. We had, Mateer did a good job. We just couldn't punch in those 2 drives for the 2 field goals, the 2 red zone field goals. If we put those balls in the end zone, it's a very different game. We're up 24-10, and Auburn is probably presses, and we win going away. But the offensive line, again, there wasn't much of a push in the running game. Auburn was also pretty committed to making us, they didn't want us to run the ball. So overall, I think it's a game Arbuckle will take a look at and say, I should have done this, should have done that. Don't like everything that I did. But all in all, when I got back to the basics of what we were doing and John Mateer was humming, we put 3 scoring drives together in the third quarter and fourth quarter, and Auburn only put 1 drive together. So
they ran their offense, so they ran a little tempo when they were allowed.
So they 3 drives versus 1 drive, it won the ball game. So I think again we left some points on the board. There's a higher level to this offense, right? We just haven't seen it yet. But we're getting there. And again, last year we couldn't put a clutch drive together with bailing stick and bungee cables and whatever. This year we fell down by 1 point. What do? We immediately responded, scored a touchdown, grabbed the lead, and then kicked the ball back to Auburn, and then our defense shut them down completely and won the football game. I call that complimentary football. We've been asking for it left and right. I call that complimentary football.
Yeah. It feels good to be able to know that you can truly rely on both sides of the ball this year. We are this team is far from perfect. They're far from perfect. And that's the scary part is that, hey, the defense can still get better and the offense can get better. And that's
who in this
really
conference is perfect. I had to interrupt. Who in this conference is perfect?
Nobody.
There's no monster team in the SEC this year.
No, and the top 10 teams in the nation is not a perfect team. Let's be
real. I should say which team in the country is really great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Miami's scuffling with Florida today.
Well, Florida. You see, I think that's a long.
I don't agree with what Jesse's talking about. Jesse, I think you're just talking crazy shit.
Yeah, that's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. What's a true SEC tight end? Is there a store I can buy one at?
He leads the country. He leads the country.
I mean, what are we talking about?
Listen, I can understand the frustration with Joe John Finley and recruiting and everything, and we
really because Tyler Ruxer and Ryder Mix.
But we don't have. That's later. That's not now.
But you're gonna call somebody out for recruiting.
Hang on, let me
call in my bailiwick. You better have your access.
I'm not hating on. Listen, it is not wrong for the fan base before the season started. When you look at that first depth chart and Jaren Kanak is number 1 on the tight end depth chart, and there's no or, and you're like, what's going on here? Like that's a fair reaction to people because
but it's no longer a valid reaction.
No, not anymore. But I'm talking before the season, and you said, okay, this guy, like we brought in 2 tight ends in the portal, and our best option is a linebacker turned tight end in the offseason, and we have no film from previous to show, oh my God, what's going to happen? That's a fair reaction from people outside and inside the fan base. Now, Jaren Kanak has become kind of a dude, and we can all celebrate. But
yeah, you got to stop with it now. At this point, you can't say it anymore.
No, you can't say it anymore. But at the same time, it's like, it's like we got lucky. We rolled we rolled 7.
Well, we've been unlucky. We've been unlucky, so we finally got a little luck.
Right. We rolled 7.
Yeah.
We rolled 7 on the craps table tonight, and we won some money with that. But Joe John for me is to be continued, to be determined, and we'll see what happens with the future. Now, recruiting is going to get better across the board the more we do stuff like this, because now you banked a really good Michigan win and a really good Auburn win on TV, where everyone was watching us a couple weeks ago at night, and most people were watching us in the middle of the afternoon today. So Oklahoma football is riding high right now.
And just for the record, the best tight end I've seen on film for 2027, Ed Norman today from Kentucky. His name's Seneca something. I can't remember his name. 6'7", 235. And what did he watch today? The best tight end in that football game was Jaren Kanak, and
who gave a V trigger to an opposing defender. For
and
those who know little AEW wrestling.
And Kanak again had a good stat day, right? And if you were watching that game as a tight end, and you're like, we want you to be the next Jaren Kanak, I'd be like, yeah, I think if I'm
put that back up. I want to put that back up if you can. I want to it is if he was a skill player in high school. That's great. That was high school. What's he been doing for the past couple of years on the roster? He was a backup linebacker. I'm sorry, but I know what he did in high school is great, but until we saw it happen on the field, our best option was to take a linebacker and switch him over to tight end. And it worked. It's great that it worked, but I'm talking about the initial reaction before the season is fair. We can all agree to that. It's
it's not fair any longer.
If everyone I want to know how many people in this fan base, when they looked at that depth chart and said, "Oh, Jaren Kanak's tight end, we good." Most of you would be lying through your teeth if you said you weren't worried about it. Most of you. And I say every week, every time Jaren Kanak does something awesome, I apologize and say, "Dude, you're awesome. You're great." But to say it was a guarantee he was going to do something, no.
Everything we're getting is gravy from that kid, man.
Yeah,
it's all gravy.
Yeah, but at some point, someone's coaching him up. It's not happening. It didn't happen in a vacuum.
I would hope so.
Right, someone's coached him up. It's not happened in a vacuum. He didn't just all of a sudden.
I give credit to Ben Arbuckle because this is not the first time he's done that, though, where he's taken a linebacker and switched to tight end. He did that at Washington State. So I give credit to Ben Arbuckle more than anybody.
There is no, you know what? The defensive ends in this conference cannot be blocked one-on-one by a fucking tight end.
Yeah, we learned that last year. Dylan Stewart says hello.
There's not one. There isn't one. Stop it. You guys got to pay attention to the game.
Damn. Maybe the 09 guy from Kansas could do it.
What? So
that tight end could do it. But other than that, you're right. Yeah.
So obviously, I think kind of the elephant in the room is obviously Jackson Arnold. I thought he had a good day today. I thought he played better. He played better than what I expected him to play. I thought he stepped up and made some throws in the game. I thought that at times he ran the offense pretty well. I still didn't see major improvement, but I saw enough to say, hey, Auburn's a good team, and we could potentially see them down the road if we keep winning and they keep winning, right? So they have their mini gauntlet pretty much now. It starts now. It was us.
It does.
Now it's next Georgia. I think they got Missouri, and then
A&M.
Yeah, they got A&M next actually. So yeah, they have their mini gauntlet starts, and then they got Alabama at the end of the year. However, that's going to go. But yeah, no, I thought Jackson played well today. Jason, what were your thoughts? You were there.
Yeah, I think I was impressed with he had more poise than I expected, but he still held the ball. I mean, and he made a couple of throws that I was like, okay. I was surprised that he made them. But when you got a guy like Cam Coleman, you should be willing to make that throw. You know, you should be willing to throw it up for grabs, man, especially against a true freshman. And Guillory is fantastic. Let's not get it twisted. Guillory is fantastic. That dude is a baller.
He got work today a little bit, though, as a true freshman, though. So
Listen, I mean, he played a transformer, bro. He played a transformer.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
he has a chance to get better, but yeah, it was like okay, they're going to go after the true freshman, which is a brilliant move. It's a brilliant move. Jackson Arnold is a guy that like I saw today is like he played to that was the guy I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more of last year, but it was almost impossible with our O-line issues, our receiver issues, and constantly giving Bauer Sharp the ball behind the line of scrimmage a bunch of times. But he still showed the weaknesses and deficiencies that still, because if you switch quarterbacks in this game, guess who wins? Auburn. I think if you just switch quarterbacks, Auburn wins the football game. And when we talk about, well, Jackson did this and Jackson did that, and it's like, but wasn't enough. So he still had he had a solid O-line and he had skilled guys he could depend on. And
he has a running game that requires focus.
And I think they're going to win a lot of games. And I think they're going to win a lot of games this year. There's a potential. But you talk about the gauntlet, like everyone, certain teams have a gauntlet. And we're one of them. Florida's one. You know, they've got one. So again, like props to the dude for playing as well as he did in that environment, because he walked out there, the student section was getting on him, and he did the little Hulk Hogan thing. I was like, oh, brother, that was a mistake. But he came out and he played some solid ball. But like, I think the one I'll always remember is him holding the ball too long. And then like R. Mason is just like, it's like second or third play in. He's like, dude, you know he's coming for you. You know he's coming for you. You can't sit back there all day and expect to have carte blanche to throw. Someone going to get you. And 32 was it.
Yeah, somebody in the comments earlier, they said like it's almost like Jackson needs a stopwatch out there to know like you got to get rid of the ball. There were some coverage sacks for sure. There were times where the coverage was perfectly fine and the pass rush was just, I mean, it was relentless. You know, I know I was in a couple of chats or whatnot. I think, you know, some people were saying like, man, R. Mason Thomas is going to eat once he gets into the game, and that he did. It begs, you know, it kind of begs you to pretty much ask, and I'll ask the panel here, like, you know, do you think the game plan would have been a bit different if R. Mason was in the game, or do you think that you still would have been as aggressive as you were in that first half?
No, because they still got 6 or 7 sacks in the first half, so I don't think anything changed that much.
Yeah, I don't think you would have changed it that much. I mean, I think, you know, you're playing. Auburn has NFL talent on that roster. It may not be all over the place like an old Alabama or UGA teams, you know, in the 1920 areas, but there's NFL talent all over that roster. Okay. And OU held them to 17 points and they scored 24 points, and they should have probably had 26. And, you know, to make my score prediction almost perfect, but I did predict the safety, guys. Got that right. I don't, you know, I'm looking at Josh's grades on here. I'm not going to give away the bank because that's obviously on their pay site. But he made one comment here, which I completely agree with. This is a game OU finds a way to lose in every year since 2019.
Absolutely.
And I 100% agree with that. You know, we've asked Brent to get better in game management through 4 games. We've seen that. Arbuckle has called a good game. We have a quarterback that can win games. We need our offensive line to get healthy, get the right guys in the right spots. Fasusi's our left tackle. Let Simmons and Howland fight at right tackle. You know, if we could just play 5 guys game over game on the offensive line for 3 or 4 weeks during this gauntlet, it would help a great deal.
You mind if I give one spoiler for a grade? Just one?
Sure.
Jaden Jackson 100. God.
Yeah.
Like he was,
and he was my defense and again to pat myself on the back. I believe he was my defensive MVP, was he not?
I believe so.
He had 2.5 sacks today, I believe.
If he keeps playing like this, they're gonna be like, can we let guys go after 2 years?
No, we can't change that rule.
Can we change that rule? Someone's gonna ask that question.
No, but at some point, there's a story that that Todd Bates has to show defensive line cut-ups from Clemson to D-line recruits. Like, this is what we want to be.
Oh, that's over now. We got.
He doesn't have to do that any longer. He's got 4 games of film from this year that he can start showing.
He's got Jay Jackson all last year.
Well, and Dom Williams also was a beast out there. Grayson Hall is rounding into form. I mean,
those four were what you expect your defensive your D tackles to be: disruptive, game changing. Kind of narrow the focus of that offense. Like, what can we actually do? Make it predictable as far as where they can run, what they can do. They were really only successful running off the tackles. There were a couple of inside runs that they popped off, but I thought that the defense responded really well. But Dominic Williams is on a different level too this year than where he was last year. Grayson Hall, come on, man, it's G Baby. Let's just be real. G Baby is still G Baby.
Yeah, but he's rounding into form. You can tell. I mean, he's playing better and better week over week.
And it's one of those things on that last drive, and I cannot wait to watch the highlights and watch the game back, period. But it's one of those things. His play is going to be overshadowed by R. Mason Thomas bull rushing 2 guys and getting a safety. Because Halton made a play right there before.
Oh, yeah, he smashed Arnold in the field, in the open field.
The play before that, David Stone stopped him from leaking out. I mean, the defensive line today was just, I mean, it was superb from all ends.
Taj Overton, if you're watching, I know the team you committed to last night had a rough night, but come on, you know what, Taj, come on, man, come on.
We're full.
No, shut, I don't say that. Taj Overton, come on.
We're full. He missed his spot. He should be punished and have to go to OSU for making the stupid decision to choose OSU in the first place.
Taj, don't listen to him, man. Just like, come on over.
Carrington's putting up better stats.
I'm just saying, it's like, we got a spot for you, Taj.
You know he put up that four game huddle video in the middle of OSU losing to Tulsa as like a plea for anyone to offer him, help me escape this.
Dude,
we're full. We don't need a 4th tackle.
When December rolls around, we got you, Taj.
We don't need him.
Just keep playing. Keep playing good. Keep playing.
He can walk on.
Come on now.
we don't need a 4th defensive tackle in this class.
But we're playing with 4 defensive tackles right now.
But we don't need 4 in one class.
I just want depth, man. That's all I want. Jason,
that's the thing I want to say real quick, because like, if there's one thing Brent and all the staff and Nagy, they all need credit for, it's like, I know it seems like NIL's on our thing when we're recruiting, but we use that for this year's team to retain guys, and it's showing on that side of the football.
It is. You're right. Completely right.
So, anyway,
I mean, this is, the money well spent on R. Mason Thomas, RSG. I mean, this was Kip's sort of first big game, right? I mean, it's been funny to say that we haven't had a big game from Kip Lewis and R. Mason Thomas yet this year.
Well, Kip has usually a big game against Auburn, technically.
So it's the Alabama, So I mean, he led OU in tackles with 10 today, and obviously R. Mason Thomas in a half of football had 2 ridiculous sacks and pressure all over the place. So, but it's just, I mean, look at that. Look how many players got tackles today. It's absurd.
Where is that?
I mean, 14 tackles for loss and 10 sacks.
I'm just looking at all the guys who played today, and
I mean,
who he graded, and I didn't.
Yeah,
couple names I didn't see on here, but obviously David Stone, great. R. Mason, great. You know what? And also, I'm not gonna say the number, but just shout out to Jacoby Johnson. He had a solid game today when the secondary was struggling. But he was out there. He was a steady force out there. I know Jacoby was the guy who was getting burned a lot, like in previous games. But
I mean, he's finally healthy. So, and we know Eli's playing against Texas, and he'll play some against Kent State. and we know same thing for Giovanni Gibson. So
we got 3 weeks till that game, basically, with a scrimmage against Kent State in the middle.
Yeah, so we've got time. We should pull the O-line after the first half of the Kent State game. Let them all sit and rest up, and put in our backups. Gunnar Allen can play center and do whatever. And he can play center against Kent State.
Against Kent. Okay.
Yeah.
First thing I thought you meant the other way.
No. Or let Hollenbeck. See if Hollenbeck can snap the ball. I don't care. Just get Makala and Wewu out of the game.
All those guys clearly struggled today, and I want to believe it was like they were all playing on taped up ankles, and that was a big thing.
Well, they were, but yeah,
I mean they were, but it's like we can't use that excuse 3 weeks from now. Maybe for Becci if he's got a bad high ankle.
Guys, I really believe in my heart of hearts. I know that people are going to be critical of the O-line today, but I feel like
I've already got people saying Bill needs to be fired after today.
Yes, hell, they're saying
like
DeMarco too. But the problem is that again, I think that when you go back and watch the game, I think you'll see some things that were opened up, and something, and I think you'll see the vision that Arbuckle had. But I think that what you will take away from this game is that, hey, it felt like we weren't aggressive enough. If we would have just attacked them down the field and ran a lot of stuff north and south, we could have picked up a lot of stuff. Again, on some of your short yardage plays, hey, I know our offensive line is banged up or whatnot, but I'm going to be real. 4th and 2. Now that I hate ESPN has to get their coverage better. Anyways, a 4th and 2 pass. I mean, you're on 4th and 2 and you pass to Will Huggins. Let's just be real. That's just or Carson Kent, whichever one was out there. That's not a recipe for success. It just felt like we at times we weren't as aggressive as we possibly could have been, and I think that we could have blew this game open, wide open earlier on if we were aggressive. It goes back again. If you watched all three of us, and you watch me on here especially, you know that I always go back to kind of think about the Levy days, right? We lose to O State, we lose to Kansas in games similar to this, right? But then you watch that West Virginia game afterwards, and you're like, dude, we were throwing the ball up and down the field, just going north and south. We have to keep that mindset every game. I think the end around stuff, there's a time and place for it, just like any of the trick plays and all the rest of the stuff. There's a time and a place for the reverses and the jet sweeps. But today was not that day. You were able just to move the ball, and your wide receivers were sitting down where they needed to be. So I just felt like you should trust that more. But once in the second half, especially on that last drive where we got the touchdown, I felt like you were able to really kind of rely on the fundamentals of your offense. If you just stay fundamentally sound on this offense, guys are going to be open. You're going to move the ball. Jason, you got anything to add? I know we ain't heard from you in a second.
Nah, man. I think that they're either going to get better throughout the year or they're not going to win the national championship. That's what you have to do. You have to improve.
Not the national championship. Can't be true.
You're not going to be there in this week and be everywhere you want to be. And newsflash, they ain't got enough linemen to not be. I mean, they're not going to be healthy all the time. So you're going to sit here and start firing coaches. Well, that ain't going to get you there either.
Well, I think you need to apologize to ESPN's coverage. Listen, I'm willing to miss a couple of important plays for Oklahoma if it means I get to watch CM Punk and his wife walk down the hallway before wrestling tonight. Okay, you need to apologize to some ESPN people. We got wrestling tonight. We got Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Let's go.
I mean, say what you want to say. ESPN.
I can't follow that comment.
ESPN is the worst thing ever. What Chris Mason I guess just kind of going back to well, I'll just ask the panel this right here. We'll start with you, Chris Mason. Just going into the bye week, obviously, again, like I said, going into the bye week as a college athlete is one of the most important things that you can have as far as being healthy, being on a win, having the good vibes, having all that stuff going. It's just it's an incredible feeling. But what are some things that you guys, where are some areas you feel like this team needs to improve in, can improve in, however you want to go about that?
Well, obviously, we again, can you give me an offensive line of 5 guys that are healthy game over game? Can you get healthier on the offensive line? I think the big thing we need to do is how do you reintegrate Eli Bowen into the secondary? Because obviously he will help. Jacoby Johnson's playing well. I think you need to figure out a little bit more of your cornerback rotation on defense. And that's about all you need to do on defense. That's it. On offense, let's get Giovanni Gibson integrated into the passing game in Kent State a little bit. Let's get the offensive line. Hopefully, let's get Michael Fasusi playing left tackle and get the line set back up the way we want. Let the guys work on their – I mean, again, offensive line's a cohesion between 5 guys, kind of thing. We just keep subbing out starters and putting guys, flip-flopping them from positions isn't helping the cohesion of the offensive line. It's just not. But, let's get that going. And I think, Gabe's made a big point that he wants to see Kent instead of Huggins in there at tight end. Let's hope for maybe we could see some Jaden. Is Caden Helms healthy? Is that finally off?
I want to go get at least a guy who could block, run block a little bit for tight end. I mean, if getting a superstar who can do both is a lot, but go if we can't go in the portal this year and find someone who can be a decent blocker, just to be I miss a Brody Eldridge at this time of for this type of team. I wish we had a Brody Eldridge who could just be a monster when it comes to doing stuff like that. That's a guy I miss in the old days with Bob. So if you can go out and find one of those guys for next year, great.
Well, there aren't that many of them, but
I know. But if you can,
you do have 2 young freshmen coming in who are both true 2-way tight ends who will shove and smack somebody in the running game and catch passes and that they're receiving threats too. So I think it's there's something there as well. But I think that's the main thing, Chris, is you just got to try and get the offensive line guys that you want, the 5 you want, healthy, practicing together, play a half against Kent State, pull them, and get healthy and rested for Texas. Because Kent State's awful.
Yeah.
Kent State is awful. So we should be up 35-0 at half, and then just stick in the backup line and stick Mike Hawkins in and let him play for a half.
Sellers just
Sean, what are your thoughts as far as what you want to see this team improve on?
Just keep on this. I know it's cliche, but keep on keeping on, man. Just I don't think we need if you're the offensive line, just get healthy. Just don't give up on the run game. And Torrey Blaylock, keep hitting the ball. And I'm sure you guys have talked about this ad nauseum, but I still have people in my chat asking, why isn't Jay not playing? Guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think that's going to work out. And that's not DeMarco's fault. Okay. It's the fault of the person wearing number 0. And I'm not talking about David Stone. So I think we're getting to the point where that ship has sailed. So it happens. Nagy went for it. On paper, it looked like a good idea. I don't, unless he has a come to Jesus moment. Go back and watch the end of the game last week where he just half-assed at the end of the game. I don't care if it was the end of the game. If you don't go out there and block for your teammates, that's what DeMarco needs for his running backs. Javonte Barnes still plays in football games because he goes out and blocks for his teammates. Yeah, he dropped a pass he probably should have caught today. That would have been possibly a walk-in for a touchdown. But he plays hard. Number 0, he don't play hard right now. That's why you see him embarrassed and humiliated and put at the end of the game last week. So for all you hoping for number 0, unless he changes his ways quickly.
He's not on a milk carton. He's just not. He's not a subject to talk about. Do something in a football game, and then I'll talk about you. Otherwise, he's a pointless topic.
Right. It's for the people who keep bringing him up. Why is it up? It's over, dude.
Yeah.
It's over.
He got hurt in August and has basically shut it down.
So it sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, develop the running game. Just I'm looking forward to seeing what Giovanni Gibson can do because he looks like a guy who's wanted to play for weeks. They've had to he looks excited every time you see him pregame warmups. He's pumped. So he's got the energy at least. You feel so. but we'll see what he does potentially next week if we get Bowen out, Eli out there next week or 2 weeks from now, I should say. But yeah, man, just one game at a time, and we'll see where we end up. But this is a fun football team to watch. That's all I've ever wanted based on last year. However this season turns out, this is a fun football team. So that's all I got.
Hey, Jeremy Jones, I know you mad, bro. You big mad right now. But hey, no, I'll jump in here and I'll just say this. Hey, I want to see this team just get healthy, man. Just that's point blank, period. I want to see what this offense looks like with giving Mateer kind of a taller target. Obviously, you have Carrion, but at the same time to have a Gibson back, Giovanni Gibson potentially back, I think that could help change some things. You know, the interesting part is going to be to see, like, can he push a Satania to now be kind of your fourth guy, where Keontae Lewis is still there, right? Can he push Burks to go from being your 1 to your 2? So it's going to be interesting just to see what wrinkles can you add into the offense with him now, right? Because there's still pieces of this offense that we haven't necessarily seen yet. You can go put on all the film. I know a lot of you guys have, because you watch a lot of highlights of John Mateer, rightfully so. But if you really pay attention, there's some pieces of this offense that we haven't necessarily seen yet. So that's going to be interesting. On the other side of the ball, honestly, it's just figuring out kind of with that secondary, just what is that rotation truly going to look like. You know, everything goes well. Seems like Eli is going to be back. Is he a outside guy? Or is he a slot guy? Is he inside? What you know, is he field boundary? Whatever the case may be, like, where is he at? So I think getting your rotations, making sure that you keep Guillory his head up high, make sure that he understands, like, hey, this is only up from here. Let's just stay positive. I think that's the biggest thing, because I think that you're really good on the back end. I believe that's a strength of this team, but we shall see. But you know, overall, man, just got to keep winning. But this next week, I'm hopeful, hey, we make it through all the practices, whatever the case may be, and we hit the recruiting trails and do what we need to do. But just be healthy, man. I think that's the biggest thing. But last but not least is I think I know for sure Arbuckle can call a better game than this. I think just sticking to the roots when things get tough, the fundamentals of the offense, and I think you'll be fine. Obviously, we want to establish a run game. And I think Chris Mason, I know earlier this week, we even said it's not necessarily that we want a 150-yard rusher. I mean, that would be amazing. But if we have to just do three yards in a cloud of dust, you know what I'm saying?
It's our jab, right?
Yeah,
it's our jab. Mateer's our overhead right. We just need a jab. We just need a jab to do some damage every once in a while.
The short passing game is, like, you know, made up for the run game a little bit. So I'm not saying you're going to depend on that forever, but, like, if the run game's not going, just like Burks or Keontae or whoever, like, or Isaiah, just find a spot, sit down, and wait. Pick apart their zone.
So, all right, people. Look, we've been in here for about an hour or so, and we really appreciate you guys for jumping on here with us, especially you, Sean, for sure, for jumping on here with us, man. Guys, I'm really excited. I kept telling everybody, man, I just wanted to go into the bye week 4-0 and healthy, because we know what's coming now. We know the gauntlet that's coming, and we know the big test is coming in pretty much 3 weeks from today. So
now we go in the hyperbolic time chamber and get better.
Exactly. We got to do that. So with that being said, people, definitely check out, go to the bio, and you will see all the links and everything to our Twitters and our YouTube channels. With that being said, like, subscribe, do all those different things on all these channels. Shout out to Jason for jumping on here. I know he was in the midst of leaving the game and all the rest of that stuff. So safe travels to everybody, and we will see you on the other side.